What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to Marriage Unmasked. It's me, your boy Hen, I'm here with the beautiful, amazing Shireal.
Hey, hey, what's going on?
Listen, y'all, we got a great topic for you all today. Wherever you are, driving, on the way to work, home, chilling, eating, relaxing. Thank you for tuning in to Marriage Unmasked because we got something for you.
This one is a little touchy, but this conversation is called Other People's Perception.
I felt like we touched on this a while ago, like with perception.
But this one is a little bit different. So this one is like for all you couples out there who have like a business together or like some type of project that you're working on together, or for like Henry and I, we have the podcast. That's our like love child. That's our love project. That's what we do. It's a ministry for us. It's all these things that why we do the podcast,
Mm.
right? And so as we go forth, like we're constantly testing out different things to see like what works, what doesn't, what works for us, like
Yep.
how the audience receives like our reels, things of that nature, right? So as we're doing that, we get feedback, tons of it, tons of unsolicited feedback. Now we get that.
I don't want to say it's unsolicited because we be asking for the feedback.
Can I finish what
You
I'm
right? Go ahead,
saying?
Shorty. Go ahead.
So we get that when you put stuff out on social media, people are going to react. Like you put it out there, you're asking for feedback, right? But I think it's when it comes from places we didn't expect.
Mm.
Like, so I'm just going to make something up. An example. Like, so we'll put out a reel, right? And then someone from my family will call me like, "Oh, I saw that thing y'all put out." And then we'll have an opinion on it,
Mm.
right? And it's like, I don't know like how to necessarily always respond to them. Because for me, I'm like, okay,
Was the opinion like good or was the opinion
it could
bad?
be both. Like I've had both. I had my mom call and say stuff like, "Oh my gosh, I saw that. That was so funny." And I've had her call and be like, "Whoa." You know what I mean? So I've had multiple from multiple places. Have you had an experience like that?
Yeah, I've had that. Some people will be like, some won't understand at first. I've got some that didn't understand the real, and I had to break it down. I'd be like, do y'all be paying attention to what's like written on the real, like what's going on, the whole concept? And some families be like, no, I don't need to know all of that. You don't need to do nothing like that. And I'd be like, yo, you're bugging. Like, first of all, we live in the age of like social media. In the sense of social media, you're telling a story to the world. So, and first of all, like the podcast is a ministry for us. It's here to help. And so you have to be relatable. And I think because they are unrelatable, they don't understand what we do. So that was some of like how I responded to some of that negative feedback that I got from their opinions in a sense. You know what I mean?
And that's I think what I'm asking. Like, so how much do you let feedback like impact what we're doing?
Mm, that's interesting because I hate negative feedback. However, I will self analyze and like look and say,
Mm-hmm.
could it have been done differently?
Mm-hmm.
Or like how could it have not offended that person or could it have offended other people? Like I think for us, like the purpose we want to start the conversation with a lot of our topics and reels. Am I
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when they have like give feedback like that, I don't think that they're applying it to their marriage. That's what it's for. I'm like, you don't understand. You just looking at it in like one window.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like maybe if you look at your husband or at your wife, as supposed in the context of what we put out, you would understand. Oh, okay, but I don't know.
I think that like it challenges for me sometimes, like I'm like you. I like to analyze and kind of self correct if it's something that needs to be. So the challenge for me is like making sure I'm not internalizing things too much where it kind of pauses what we're doing.
Mm,
Because I feel like there has been times where we kind of fall off because we lose sight of what we're doing because of other people's impact.
yeah,
I mean, not impact, but because of their what that people say or what their opinions, etc. So like I feel like the challenge is continuing to like remain steadfast in what our vision is.
yeah, and that's tough because I even think about that with like us moving.
Hmm.
If we would have followed what everybody else thought we should have did, like we would have been still in CT in like a shack or like a 2 bedroom
Oh
apartment or something
gosh,
like, or
a
some
shack.
or some
I've never lived in a shack.
or some trash house for 150. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we would have been at what where they can see us at. Thank God we don't. Like, I don't succumb to what people can see me in how far in their minds. You know what I mean?
Hmm. No, that's a good point. Like, I feel like you're right. We have experienced this in multiple like facets because that is a big one. Had we taken everybody's feedback, we would have never made the move that we made.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like even with the podcast, like if we listen to what everybody says, like we wouldn't be where we are, which, we still have a long way to grow, but we still have made massive strides from where we started.
Yeah.
And I think that's because we decided to start taking risks and to decided to start trying new things. And as we continue to do that, like there's people that don't feel like what we're doing is appropriate, especially
Mm.
because we're Christian. So I feel like that's a big one. So we're Christian and I think we're very vocal about that. It's not a secret. Like we've said multiple times, like Marriage Unmastered is a ministry, like Henry got the vision from the Lord. Like all of that has been very clear. But I feel like when you make bold statements like I'm a Christian and we follow like Christ, like then we get additional feedback. Like, oh,
Mm.
if you're a Christian, why are you doing that?
Yeah. And sometimes it could be tough because I'm like, you don't understand, like things and people are evolving, and what God has given us is to not only create but to be relatable to
Mm-hmm.
those who don't have a voice,
Mm-hmm.
like who are looking for something in their marriage, who's looking for purpose in their marriage. For those of y'all who've been married 40, 50 years and y'all good and y'all ain't never had a problem or y'all forgot about y'all problems, this probably not for y'all.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is for the folks and for the people who need to understand why they are married and why are they together, like finding purpose in your marriage. And like I think that our mission, part of our mission is like to help people find their purpose in their marriage. Like
Mm-hmm.
marriage is not like, and we say this all the time, marriage is not a piece of paper. Like it's a lifestyle change, just like eating healthy and losing weight. Like it's not just about dieting, it's a whole lifestyle change. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And I know, and I think marriage is that even for us. Like it's a difference. It's different. You know.
Mm-hmm. And it's
Um.
also on top of that, like it's like you're changing your lifestyle and we're doing this for people to find purpose. But I think this number one thing that you had said was it needs to be relatable. So if we go on here and we just preach, 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 like the Bible, and we just talk surface about situations, who are we connecting with? And that's the thing. Like, if you're, that's why I always say, like, we try to be as transparent as possible, because it's really like, and who's gonna really listen if they can't relate to what's going on? Like, if
Hmm.
we pretend to have this perfect marriage where nothing is wrong and we just got it all figured out, who can relate to that? Like, because that's not even our truth, you know? So like,
I
it'll
don't
be,
think that's anybody's truth or the truth in any marriage,
but
because
when you look at like Christian, when people think about what the a Christian podcast should be like, it's probably, they probably not pulling us up. You know what I'm saying? They're probably pulling up something
they probably
else.
think
Like,
it's like a Bible study or
you know what I
something.
mean? Like, but the truth is, like, we are still human. We still have the same struggles. We still deal with, adversity. We, like, all of these things are true, and we can still love God, and we can still follow God principles. Like, but so I said something. We were talking about something earlier, Hen, and I was like, don't Christian me to death. Like, don't.
Yeah, you
It was
something.
like, don't be so Christian.
No, you were talking about a story. You was like, don't be so holy or hour where y'all can't see God.
Yeah, like, don't be so holy that I can't see God in you. Like, all I hear, like, you're not even connecting with the people. Like, it's like you
I think it was
can,
like a holier than
but
thou
you can, like, yeah, because you
complex.
can pretty much scare people away. Also, like, if that's all that comes out of your mouth, that's all you talk about. I can't connect or relate to anything because literally all you do is talk about the Bible. Okay, that's great, but like, bring that back to real world for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Bring me into that in a way where I can say, "Oh, I see myself in that." You know,
Listen, it's like I could say something. I can go at things two ways, right? I put it like this: like with people with preaching, and I think I've said it one time. I had gave you honor and the kids honor, like I thank God for my wife. If I bring this word, and then but what if I was to say something like, y'all, I thank God for just keeping me, because me and my wife fussed on the way here to church, and I had to preach today, and like I'm just being real. Like, how do you think that would have ran over?
I think
Like
people would have started paying
they
attention.
would have exactly they would have bust out laughing, but then they would have been like it would have opened them up to like wow, like
Yeah, now I
that's
want to listen
like
to
what's
him.
up, what they really got to say. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you come at people like that, it's like and you
Honest.
yeah you use wisdom with it. It's like now I can really connect to what the message that they have. Go ahead.
That's like when we did the communication games. So, do you remember at the end when we did like the feedback portion of it, and we
Mm-hmm.
were like, "We gonna go first," and we were like, "We almost didn't make it here today." No, you know what I mean? Like,
We
we
didn't
we almost didn't make it here today. Like, we was about to
like
cancel on the way
we
out the door.
we didn't
Like, it
we
was,
didn't we didn't even have the game set up. We
yeah, it
was
was
fussing. We was
terrible. It was
arguing.
the most uncoordinated, unplanned. It was just a disaster
Now
going into it.
now we had like what 8 9 couples or eight
It was a,
six.
maybe 10. It was a good amount of us there.
So some of the couples we knew, y'all, and some of them we didn't really we didn't know. We just invited them. So we out there saying that to them at the feedback. Like Shreya said, we were the first ones to say it. So now they hear that, and now go ahead, babe.
And then, like, everybody else felt open and started sharing, like, "Yo, we almost didn't make it either,"
Not,
or, "We
not,
about to get divorced, we
not,
came and y'all helping us not go to the court tomorrow." Like,
not even open. It was like relieved.
yeah, like, just because,
We
just
was
the
honest,
honesty, the
cause,
honesty.
cause they said one of the ladies we found out her husband gave her like divorce papers like 2 weeks before they came to the event.
And then they came with the hope of finding something, and they were the ones that knew each other the best in the whole game thing. Like, it's so crazy. Like, but it's like, all of, even though we didn't, even though, like, we, I'm trying, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say, like, all of that was done and it was still in God's name. Like, but we didn't have to pull out the Bible. We didn't have to, like, say, scriptures, and we didn't have, like, God can work and speak in plain language, like through your actions. Like, when God spoke that day, when me and him removed forward and doing what we said we were going to do, even though we didn't want to, even though we were fighting, even though God moved because we moved. Like, so it's like God is so much bigger than people's perceptions, and if you don't move when God tells you to move, you are missing not only your blessing, but you're missing the blessing that he has for others.
Listen, it was another couple that are believers that came, and they were like, they, not that they were embarrassed, it's like they didn't want to open up at first because they was like, I was so mad. I didn't want to look at him. I didn't want to look at her. Like y'all, when I tell you they was like fussing with each other, that was real thing. Everybody was mad at a spouse. And that told me and Cheryl, like, you know what, this is ordained by God. Because one thing that the enemy doesn't want to happen is for you to be in alignment with your spouse and with the
Communicate.
Lord. Like, you don't want to, because then when you find out your purpose and understand like where y'all can go together in Christ, it's up from here.
But it's so important. So, like, bringing it kind of back full circle about the topic, like, those types of the things that you do when God shows you your purpose in your marriage, or gives you and your spouse like a project or a business idea, or like, don't ever think it's gonna, just because God gave it to you, it's gonna be something easy. Like, it's gonna come with its own set of challenges and its own set of negativity and people's opinions, like, but like, you still have to move forth, because it's not for no reason. Like, it may not be for everybody, but it's for who it's for. And
Mm-hmm.
because of that, you need to move forward and do it in the way that God gave it to you. Because if we were to stick, like, remember, like, oh my God, I'm about to give y'all a great example. So we did a week last year. I don't even know, like, either the year before last or last year. We did a week like, you should dance with your spouse. Make sure you dance with your spouse every day. And
Mm.
every day we posted a reel of us dancing together. And and we posted it on social media, and some people from our church at the time was following us, and they said, like, they shouldn't be dancing. They Christians. Right? Like, that was the big thing. Like, why would they be dancing? Like, they're Christians. Like, bro,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like, but
It's like, what?
but there were other couples who were like, thank you for sharing that. That was like our favorite post. Like, you got us up and moving together. And you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So it's like, you just gotta, like, know your purpose,
Yeah, and just do what you do.
do what you do, know that you are in alignment with what God has for you. Like, know and try to stay as connected as you can to the Lord, so that you can be sure that what you're doing is the way that he wants you to do it,
Exactly. I
you know.
I agree with you.
So just, be very, like, as you move forward, and pray for us, like, cuz again, we have a lot of growing to do. But as we continue to grow, like, there's going to be more and more of that to combat.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just got to make sure that we stay strong and diligent, and, like, not losing focus of what we're supposed to do,
Yeah.
and not, like, let other people's perceptions, like, deter us from our mission.
You know what? Just know who you are and know who you are in your marriage, y'all. Listen, that's our time.
Mhm. That
We
is
love
our time. It happened, it went by really fast.
it did.
But I will say, if you have not already, please go check out marriageunmastered.com. Marriageunmastered.com. Please check out the website, y'all. Everything you need to know about the podcast is information about us. Like, we got a book coming out. You can follow us on any streaming platform. You can find it all at the podcast website. really, that's the place where you can connect with us. You can book us for sessions. Like, you could set up one-on-one meetings with us. Like, it's all out there. So go check out the website. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and as we always say, leave us some feedback, because even though we just talked a lot of junk about other people's perceptions, we do want to hear
Yo,
from you.
you wild for that one.
All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
Peace.
Bye.